Today, we are thrilled to be joined by Larry Zogby, owner of RDS Same Day Delivery. Larry, thanks so much for joining us. You have 7 people from your team from WBN, and I really appreciate the video that you did with us on your interviewing, because you've obviously done really well in terms of leveraging WBN talent. Today, I want to talk with you a little bit and get some of your insights and your best practices about how you manage your WBN talent, remote talent working out of Latin America. So, Larry, first, why don't you just give us a 30-second overview in terms of how it's going with your Work Better Now talent?
First, it's always great to spend time with you, and I am absolutely thrilled with Work Better Now and the talent that you find for us. That's really the first step. How's it going with the 7 that we have now?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I just can't. It's unbelievable. And why? It's unbelievable because they are so engaged in what they're doing. And every time we give them a new project to stretch them, they're grateful for the new project. They're grateful for the work. And if they don't understand it, they figure it out, then we coach them. They love YouTube, they love Google research, and they love to solve their own problems.
We're going to come back to that. Thank you for that, Larry. Let's go to the VA's first day. So again, last video, if you haven't seen it, you should definitely get Larry's insights on how he interviews. Really interesting, very unconventional. So their first day, what do you do on their first day and with onboarding to ensure that they have a great start and they're looking forward to their beginning of this next step of their career with RDS Same Day Delivery?
Well, I'll take it one step back. I remember 2 years ago when I hired Diana from El Salvador, I spent about 35% of my time with her over a 4 to 6 week period. So once their first day looks this way, Diana is onboarding. I don't get involved in the onboarding process. However, we have learned to do a few things that I'm going to share with you.
So sorry, Diana is now who was your first WBN, or one of your first WBN assistants. She's now onboarding all of the new assistants that have come on.
Yeah, so she started. You know what? Let's go there for a second. She started as inbound customer service, and I quickly recognized she could be my executive assistant. And part of her job as the executive assistant is to onboard she's the liaison for Work Better Now and your team. And she is with me usually when I select them. And then when we onboard them, she trains each and every one of them for about 2 weeks for inbound customer service before we deploy the WBN person to another role. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. Gotcha.
So what does that onboarding look like? Well, Diana's interviewing them. She wants to see their workspace. She wants to see how many monitors they have on their desk. She wants to understand the headphones or earphones they're going to use. And she's scanning through all this type of equipment because Diana understands each and every role we have requires more desktops. We don't want anyone just working from their laptop. It becomes, it's not productive, it's not efficient, and it doesn't give the WBN person or any team member any joy working from 1 or 2 screens. Every WBN person on our team has at least 3 screens. Then from there, we make sure that we get them, the WBN person, on this 55-inch screen TV right here in my conference room, and each one of my team members comes in and says hello. And there's a 3 to 5 minute conversation about, hey, my name is this, what do you do in the company, et cetera, et cetera. And Diana coordinates that with my team. So for me, I think this has to happen. Who's ever going to onboard, in my experience, should be with me on the interviews. This way that person feels like the new hire has a buddy or somebody that they feel connected to in the company. And then their first day of employment, they're now interacting on Zoom with my team members. And then Diana also gives them another buddy, right? Because Diana is not going to hold their hand or support them all the way through, but she's helping for that transition. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Is that buddy? Is that somebody in their department or not necessarily?
Yeah, no, somebody in their department. That's a great question. So there's another step to the Zoom process. Now that new person from WBN just met everybody inside my office, we have to do the same thing for the 7 people that I have that are working in different countries. So Diana coordinates. It could be a one-on-one Zoom or it could be a group. So sometimes I think what we do is we bring the family of WBN on one Zoom plus the new person.
Gotcha.
And we could spend 30 minutes because if you do the math and you got 7 people, now it's 8 and everyone has 3 minutes. You're at 24 minutes, you're at a half hour.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned something about how your WBN personnel are, they love Google, they love going on YouTube, they love researching. Is this about finding the best way to do things, and where did that come from?
It's a great question. So they never tell me they can't do something. And when they surprise me on something, if someone's working on a marketing project, Gabby or Anna, who's working with my brother in the real estate in Florida, if they can't figure something out, what I've noticed is a trend. They do their homework first, then they ask for help. They say, look, I did all this research. This is where I'm at. Am I on the right angle, the right page? Can you add anything to this, et cetera, et cetera? It's in their culture. It's in their culture.
So
They want to show up.
that's something that they were doing on their own, or not necessarily something that you said, hey, before you come to me with a problem. Gotcha. Okay.
On their own, and I found it through 7 countries that we hire from. They're all the same. They look on their own first.
Yeah. I gotcha. So, any other differences in terms of, how many people do you have in your office in Queens?
Yeah, so internally.
Messengers. Yeah.
Well, the internal team is 11. The external team with WBN, another 7. So it's 18, and we're managing another 80 people.
Right.
Boots on the ground, vehicles, foot messengers, drivers, etc.
Gotcha. So let's talk about the 11 that you have in the office. Any differences in how you're managing them versus how you're managing the remote people?
No, but I think it's something we should talk about because in my mind, there was a stigma for some odd reason. I don't know why it was a stigma, but I believe that stigma blocks a lot of people from making the first choice of working with someone remote. I think there's a few blind spots to not even how we're going to manage them, but can this person from another country get the job done? No, but I will share this nuance. Anyone that has a proactive job in my company or outside my company, WBN, they have parking lots and categories of things that have to get done. And once a week, we'll be talking about prioritizing these categories because, as you know, everything moves up and down in the priority list. So we've been very, very successful. Think sales, marketing, and my executive assistant have very, very good parking lots that they created. And then we tweak them over time. And that really keeps everyone on track. And let's talk about metrics for a second. So we'll talk about marketing and Gabby in El Salvador. I was curious how long, if I gave her the new project, like we just saved probably $10,000 a year by leveraging one of your WBN. She does the monthly newsletter. And I was curious to know how much time she spent on it, not because I'm micromanaging her time.
Yeah.
As a business owner, entrepreneur, we want everything yesterday. And I have to continue to learn that creative work takes time. And so I asked her to start benchmarking how long does it take a reel to make on social media? How long does it take to create the content and the copy and get it to MailChimp? So she documents it so we both understand where she's improving, or, hey, Larry, regardless, I'm really good. These are the blocks of time it's going to take. And what that's making me understand is when I hire my second marketing person from WBN. And right now, I probably could do it because it's too much work for one person. It's overwhelming.
Right. So it's interesting. You found that out by having her track her time. Again, not to micromanage, but to see if there's an opportunity to bring somebody else on to expand your capabilities, essentially, on the marketing side.
Well, I think there's also another thing that, I'll tell from my experience, right? So as a business owner, marketing, I had everything under one roof: website, marketing brochures, social media, it's landing pages. It's so deep. There's so much work that needs to get done. And sometimes we have an opportunity to put blinders on and just say, no, you take care of it. And the list keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I understand. Larry, you've also had, and I want to stick to managing. We're going to do another video just so everybody understands. There's going to be another video on leading. You also have you've had this incredible track record of hiring a VA for something and then putting them in a different role. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think it's a perfect segue. So I never realized this until I kept going through the process and engaging with them. We'll use Sophia from Argentina. Comes in as customer service, stayed in that role for 6 months. I knew she was capable of so much more.
How did you know that?
Just by having one-on-ones and talking to her and getting her off her game of not me focusing, just talking about her, just about life, what her goals are, what her dreams are, what her desire and motivation is. And then that kind of just opens up the door for a fluid, vulnerable conversation. We move her into sales, and now she's a direct report to me. So she's in the sales role for over 12 months. Her best month, she generated $45,000 of income. If she's averaging 30,000, think about a WBN on a run rate of $360,000 of gross revenue, and she's sitting in Argentina, and she's managing inbound leads.
Awesome.
So what happened was I told her that she's going to train 2 inbound customer service people to help her in her role because we're getting more leads and I need more Sophias. And I offered her a 1.5% commission on top of a regular commission to not only train the new girls or the new WBN people for the sales side of the house, but we're also incentivizing them every time they get a 5-star review because we teach them how to get the reviews. And they're so happy to show me the review and they get compensation for the review.
Right, right. That's
So
fantastic.
Sophia now is training 2 times a week, and she actually created or enhanced our sales book. And that parking lot or sales book covers all the template letters, covers objections, questions, how to onboard, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So it's like you give them, you tell them like, look, this is where we want to end up with respect to the reviews, and they now understand it, and then boom, they're off to the races. They just make it happen.
Yeah, but so this is what I have found. A lot of people will send an email to the team or info or that person and thank us for the experience. They could have had a good experience with a pickup and delivery time, a driver, whatever it was, they were just grateful and they want to share it. It's that moment in time that the team is trained to send a template letter, copy and paste whatever that person said, share with them, hey, we have 150 reviews with a 4-point-star rating. It would mean a lot to us if you can copy and paste this in this bit.ly link. And 9 out of 10 times with the template letter and asking them and making it so simple for the customer, copy, paste, it's done.
Yeah. Awesome. Larry, I know we're going to do an additional video soon on how you're leading your remote WBN team. I want to thank you. Is there anything else that you want to add?
Yeah, I'm glad that you asked that. I'm going to give one more quick example of how we had an inbound customer service from Panama. Javier was with us about 6 months, 8 months, and he's transitioned now into safety manager from Panama, also providing human resource with reporting. Now, what does that mean? How does somebody, a safety manager in Panama? Well, there is so much compliance that needs to be done. He's able to analyze all of the reporting, review all the Samsara videos, just review everything, and then be able to give folders or documentation to our human resource manager who's boots on the ground, and she walks in and she can have these meetings. She doesn't have to do all the prep work. Are they hard braking? Are they distracted driving? How are they doing on time and a half, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a punch list of stuff that Javier is doing constantly. And then my human resource manager, like a doctor, she walks in and has a conversation.
How has that helped the company, RDS?
Yeah, so safety is the #1 priority for us as an employee-based company. We're driving all these vehicles. We need to think safety. As you know, we're distracted, right? Personally and professionally. And so when we're distracted, whether they're picking this up and using it while they're driving, they could hurt themselves or hurt people or get into accidents. Their driving habits, think about Samsara. Maybe they're distracted in their brain for whatever reason. They might be under stress that day, and they're hard braking, not paying attention. So we're able to understand the metrics of safety driving and then have a scorecard to rate them, give them a bonus every single month if they hit the right metrics. And if they're not hitting the right metrics, this is what Javier is doing. How do we help improve them? And if we can't improve them, it's not a good fit and they have to move on.
Right. But I guess what Javier is doing is taking the data and interpreting so that you guys can act on it locally.
It's exactly. And over and beyond that, I think there's so much room here. just for opportunities with your other clients. Think about anyone that has a fleet. Someone's got to manage fuel reports, Easy Pass, manage repairs, the timeliness of getting cars repaired. Again, someone needs to manage all this data, and then it's simple for us to take action here.
Larry, I want to thank you again for taking a few minutes of your time, and also really just for showing the world of what is capable with WBN talent. We know it. You're manifesting it, and it's just it's especially you and I knowing each other for so long. It's and also knowing how much you do for the communities here throughout New York. It's just awesome to see this. Thanks again.
My pleasure. I want to add one thing, Robert, before you close. I think it would be a great opportunity because I showcase it all the time. I'll give you a quick example. Tom, the CEO of the Queen's Chamber, was with me yesterday, came to my office, made an introduction for me, et cetera, but I actually brought on 3 people that work for me. I brought in Sophia from Argentina, Nico from Argentina, and Anna from Ecuador. And I think this would be a great idea for your clients to act and prospects to actually interview some of my team members on why they're happy, why they're engaged, why they like it, et cetera, et cetera. And because now it's not coming from you or me, I could be a happy customer, but when you hear it from the end, from the user, from the employee, it's remarkable.
Yeah, we're going to take you up on that. So thanks for volunteering.
It's been a blessing.
Larry, thanks again, and we're going to see you soon. We're going to do another video, the last one in the series on leading remote talent. So thanks again, Larry.
Talk to you soon. Thank you.